From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Recovery is just beginning for Mexico City, and though the earthquake has not shaken Arizona physically, an emotional shockwave is hitting home.
Harvey, Irma, and now Maria, the latest from Puerto Rico, as the devastating hurricane targets the U.S. territory.
And what are the plans for Arizona's Confederate monuments? One lawmaker says it's time for a change.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Madison Connor.
And I'm Tyler Finger. Thank you for joining us.
Concerns are growing on both sides of the border as Mexico City tries to recover from yesterday's massive earthquake. There have been 223 confirmed deaths from the earthquake, with the majority in Mexico City. First responders and civilians are working together to rescue scores of people still strapped in the rubble of collapsed buildings. Mexico's President Enrique Peña Nieto says every minute counts to save lives. He also declared 3 days of national mourning to honor victims of the 7.1 magnitude earthquake.
Many Arizonans have ties to Mexico's capital through family and friends and are still trying to check on loved ones. One young Valley woman tracked down her aunt safe and sound in Mexico City and got her in touch with Cronkite News reporter Nicole Gutierrez.
Empezó a decir, en este momento está temblando, está temblando.
Raquel Tejeda was driving 5 minutes from where the Estadio Azteca is located when she heard on the radio an earthquake was happening.
Fortunately, where I was, the buildings didn't collapse, but they did move in extreme ways with swing. The posts, the trees that were around, the houses that were on the second floors would move impressively.
Tejeda also said that her husband escaped out of a 4-story building when the city was shaken.
And he commented that when he was coming down the emergency stairs, rocks were falling on him, as well as things of the structure.
Tejeda says this quake reminded them of the big one that struck on the anniversary 32 years ago, and are counting their blessings they survived such a massive earthquake again. Nicole Gutierrez, Cronkite News.
The Valley also has a lot of political and community ties in Mexico City. The city of Phoenix recently opened a trade office in the Mexican capital, as well as another office in Hermosillo. Sidney Eisenberg checked in with Phoenix Mayor Greg Stanton to see how the city is planning on helping out our neighbors to the south.
I caught up with Mayor Stanton at an event earlier today. He expressed concern for the people of Mexico, but says that he's dedicated to recovery efforts. The loss from Tuesday's earthquake in Mexico City is crossing the border into the Valley. Phoenix has 2 trade and investment representation offices in Mexico, one of them in Mexico City.
We have been in communication. All of our staff are okay, thank God. Our trade offices are okay, and they're trying to provide support for the other parts of the city that were hit much harder.
The 7.1 magnitude earthquake affects more than just those operations.
So many Phoenicians have family relationships in Mexico City, friends relationships in Mexico City, so there's a really close attachment between our 2 communities.
The mayor says that the city does plan on helping Mexico.
And if they make that formal request, Phoenix, both officially and unofficially, officially through the city and our fire department, unofficially through church organizations, nonprofit organizations, we're going to be there for the people of Mexico City. We love our relationship with Mexico City, and just like they would support us in a time of need, we will support them in a time of need as well.
Mexico City must put in a formal request with the U.S. Agency for International Development before receiving assistance from the Phoenix government. In Phoenix, Sidney Eisenberg, Cronkite News.
Following President Trump's decision regarding DACA, recipients say they feel a sense of urgency. Living United for Change in Arizona, also known as Lucha, is working to help local DACA recipients through the renewal process. Here at Lucha's Phoenix offices, they're having what they are calling DACA renewal clinics, running Monday through Saturday. Volunteers help DACA recipients fill out the necessary forms, and it's all free. Some of those giving a hand are DACA recipients themselves. Today, Esmeralda Garcia came in to get her paperwork done and ready to be submitted.
You don't want to get anything denied, so that's what it's like. That's why I came here, because I wanted them, like I said, they've been checking it constantly, like they've been checking it and checking it and checking it, and every time they see like something wrong, like anything, they'll fix it. And it's just like they're so dedicated to like make sure that everything's perfect.
Lucha will continue holding these DACA renewal clinics until the October 5th renewal deadline given by the Trump administration. California is suing the Trump administration over its plan to construct a wall along the southern border. The suit was filed today by Attorney General Javier Becerra. It comes after the Trump administration waived environmental reviews on a 15-mile stretch in San Diego and a 3-mile stretch in downtown Calexico, where wall prototypes will be constructed. The suit claims the federal government is overstepping its authority and aims to stop the design, planning, and construction of the wall altogether.
A congressional vote on the proposed Graham-Cassidy healthcare overhaul is expected next week. Meanwhile, Arizona Senator John McCain is a target of new political ads across the state and in Washington, D.C., urging him to reject the bill.
The last time Washington insiders tried to repeal our health care, Senator McCain promised he'd never vote for a partisan bill written in secret without hearings or experts.
Save My Care is a progressive group defending Obamacare. It just expanded its campaign today. The ad asks McCain to keep his word and vote against the Graham-Cassidy bill. McCain has expressed his disapproval about how this repeal bill hasn't been debated under normal legislative rules. But McCain told Cronkite News yesterday that he'd be willing to vote for the Graham-Cassidy bill if he had enough assurance that it would help the state of Arizona and be good for the country.
Today, the Arizona Hospital and Healthcare Association announced its formal opposition to the Graham-Cassidy bill. The group says an independent analysis found the new legislation would reduce federal funding to Arizona by $11 billion over the next 9 years. In a statement, AZHHA President and CEO Greg Vigdor wrote this proposal erodes critical protections for patients and consumers and would lead to costlier premiums for many individuals, especially those with pre-existing conditions. Millions would lose coverage altogether.
One state lawmaker is working to create legislation to move, not destroy, Arizona's Confederate monuments. Kevin Gessner has a story on what monuments are being debated.
The Wesley Bolin Memorial Plaza in downtown Phoenix is home to hundreds of different memorials, from the Armenian Holocaust to the Vietnam War. But this memorial in particular is sparking a state controversy. It commemorates Arizona Confederate troops, and it's not the only one in the state that honors the Confederacy. In fact, Arizona has 6 Confederate monuments, 2 in the Phoenix area. State Representative Reginald Boulding is an advocate for removing these monuments. He says when you're looking at the context of the Confederacy, it's important to remember what they stood for and what these monuments are really honoring.
The members of the Confederacy, they stood by this belief that individuals, African Americans, should not be seen as humans. They believed that so much that they were able to put it into their own constitution, and many were willing to die.
But Bill Long of the Sons of Confederate Veterans believes when you remove one monument, it's fair game to remove anything else that honors the Americans that served their country.
We were called to serve, which I was, and I did. So I would be highly upset if they wanted to say, okay, now we're going to take the Vietnam monuments down and not commemorate the people that died over there and served in that position.
I totally agree that the monuments are preserving history. The question becomes, where do we place these monuments? I've always advocated that these monuments should go to a museum. They should go to private collectors.
We would be more than happy to take the monuments and put them on private ground.
Boulding plans to request a meeting with the Legislative Governmental Mall Commission and allow the public to have input. But he says having Governor Doug Ducey's backing would streamline the process.
The governor also has the ability, according to another board, to actually remove the Jefferson Davis Memorial Monument that's on U.S. Highway 60 that's honoring, that was put there to honor the Confederacy. So right now, the governor really has been absent in large part.
But the state's latest memorial to the Confederacy was built just 7 years ago in 2010 in the Historical Soldiers Memorial Cemetery in Sierra Vista. It's right next to one honoring Union soldiers, but built a year earlier. In Phoenix, Kevin Gessner, Cronkite News.
There will be a meeting next Monday to determine if the US 60 will continue to be honored as the Jefferson Davis Highway.
A World War II veteran who survived the attack on the USS Indianapolis was honored in Florence. As Emily Richardson reports, a federal building now bears his name.
Today we gather to recognize Mr. Harpo Celaya and his heroism by dedicating the Florence Post Office to him.
On Saturday, people gathered outside of the Florence U.S. Post Office to witness the building's dedication to Harpo Celaya. Celaya joined the Navy when he was a teenager because flyers made it seem fun.
At that time in Tucson, you know, they had pictures outside join the Navy and see the world, and they had girls where they would show a girl in every port and stuff like that, which I never got to see anyways.
When he was 17, he was on board the USS Indianapolis when it was torpedoed by a Japanese submarine. He was one of the 317 survivors.
A lot of the sailors were burning up and stuff like that, so I just went to the back.
Celaya and the other survivors were in the water for 4.5 days before they were rescued. When Celaya returned to the U.S., he re-enrolled in school and played on the Florence High School's basketball team.
I think that it helped me a lot to come back to school because in those days they called it that it was PSD or whatever you had, but it helped me out quite a bit.
Congressman Paul Gosar had to get a bill passed by Congress to name the Florence Post Office after him.
Harpo Celaya is a true hero, beloved by his hometown right here in Florence.
That it was an honor for us to be able to honor Mr. Celaya in this way.
Celaya is happy to be recognized by his hometown and even happier that his family made the event.
It's something that I'll probably take with me for the rest of my life.
In Florence, Emily Richardson, Cronkite News.
This week, PBS stations are revisiting the troubled times of the Vietnam War through a special Ken Burns documentary.
Tonight, a Valley Vietnam veteran is sharing his story.
But that was our main job, was to keep people out of POW camps.
Coming up, meet a pilot now penning his story to make sure it's never forgotten.
Plus, a warning from the MVD about your personal information, how scammers are hoping for your errors in the search bar.
When a story comes in the morning, we're out the door as fast as we can go.
But it's also great to spend more time in communities and produce projects.
From the borderlands to the cities, the reservations, and even the state capitol, we want to get to the heart of the matter.
When the lights come on in the studio, we know our hard work is about to pay off.
We love what we do here at Cronkite News.
We're proud to tell the stories of our state.
Now more than ever, it's important to have a trusted news source, and that's Cronkite News.
Officially from 36, and he hooks it in! Arizona State wins! Keeping one deep, and it is caught! Jalen Strong! Do you believe
it? What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse.
TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
As a veteran and grandparent, Thomas Waldron believes keeping his history alive through writing is key to educating and connecting future generations with the past. Reporter Drew Marine tells us Thomas Waldron's story of life as an H-53 pirate.
It wasn't something I ran up and said, go send me there, but it's sometimes when you sign on a dotted line, raise your right hand, you go where your orders go.
As an H-53 pilot, Waldron was assigned to rescue prisoners of war.
If somebody was shot down, the war stopped, let's get this guy out, let's get him back home. And sometimes it didn't always work out that way.
And one of his most important missions was the Sante Raid.
It says we need for you to volunteer for a secret dangerous mission. I can't tell you what it is, but let me know in the morning if you can do it. So here I just been gone for a year, and now I have to make a decision, and it's, oh boy, great, and how you gonna, and you can't tell your family, you can't tell people around because loose lips sink ships and shoot down helicopters. So we had to be very careful, and this particular mission was involving, when we found out later on, it was a POW camp.
They rescued prisoners from Hanoi.
One of our smaller helicopters was going to land inside, and Colonel Bo Simon, he says, I don't like the idea of these gun towers, and the angle we're coming in, they might shoot our helicopter down. 3 of our helicopters are going to bring back POWs. We were one of those 3. And the other 3 had Army Special Forces guys that were going to go blow up things around here. He says, we can drop down and we can come across here and we can take out these 2 gun towers for you.
He retold this story in his book, I Flew with Heroes, as a memoir for his kids and his grandkids, which is something he wishes he got from his grandparents.
My dad was with General Patton, for crying out loud, in World War II. His older brother was in the Battle of the Bulge. I didn't even know he was in the Army. And they never wrote anything. I said, you know, if I'd have known that, write some things down. What, you know, you see, write some things down. Because your kids might want to be interested sometime in what happened. And in like the case, one of my friends who was killed, I was able to contact his daughter, and she had never spoken or communicated with anybody that knew her dad. She knew nothing about her dad. And he was a friend of mine. So maybe that's why I did it.
In Phoenix, Drew Marine, Cronkite News.
New episodes of the Ken Burns documentary on the Vietnam War continue tonight, tomorrow, and next week, right here on Arizona PBS.
The Arizona Motor Vehicle Division is sounding an alert about potential scam sites, which are finding victims through a common internet search error. Many people may do a web search for the Arizona DMV, winding up on websites that are not affiliated with the MVD. State officials say ServiceArizona.com is the only authorized web portal, and your best protection is to only use that site for official business.
The Department of Health Services is launching a water testing project to ensure the safety of your kids drinking water. Health officials will screen the water in child care facilities for lead. The department says drinking water has not historically been found to be a cause of lead poisoning in Arizona. Common sources include lead-based paint, imported glazed pottery, and imported spices.
Prairie dog holes around northern Arizona are being dusted with an insecticide to help prevent the spread of the plague. Fleas carry the disease and spread it through host animals like prairie dogs, foxes, and coyotes. There's concern because fleas infected with the plague have been found west of Flagstaff. Arizona Game and Fish Department crews dusted prairie dog holes near Red Lake outside of Williams. Officials say humans should avoid handling sick or dead animals because of the risk of spreading it. Hurricane Irma tore through Florida a week and a half ago, but the state is still working to get back on track.
Coming up on Cronkite News, we're checking in on the recovery efforts in Florida, while another hurricane is tearing through the Caribbean.
Our temperatures today are right where they should be at this time of year, but we are headed for a cool down. Our full 7-day forecast is coming up.
Tickets are now available for the annual Walter Cronkite Award for Excellence in Journalism Luncheon, held Thursday, October 19 at the Sheraton Grand Phoenix. Join media industry and community leaders in honoring award-winning co-anchors and co-managing editors of the PBS NewsHour, Judy Woodruff and the late Gwen Ifill. To learn more or to purchase tickets, call 602-496-0482 or visit cronkite.asu.edu/luncheon.
This fall.
I'm so excited! What?
From the inspiring to the amazing.
You're in the presence of history.
The compelling.
He said, welcome home. It was just a powerful moment.
To the astounding.
I promised myself I wouldn't cry.
And from the breathtaking.
This is real.
A journey to Mars.
To the electrifying.
We're going to change the world.
All this and more. All this fall.
Oh my God!
Third Rail with Ozzy, the new weekly show where we tackle the taboo and debate the tough questions with some of the most interesting minds in the game. I'm Carlos Watson, electrifying conversation, Friday, only on PBS.
We're starting to see the first images of Hurricane Maria's destruction in Puerto Rico. Hurricane Maria has now dipped to a Category 2 storm after leaving shore. Puerto Rico's governor says he's concerned about flooding, and the Office of Emergency Management says the entire island has lost power. Maria made landfall as a Category 4, and it's the strongest storm to hit the island in decades. Only about 11,000 of Puerto Rico's more than 3 million residents are in shelters.
The power is back on for the majority of Florida after Hurricane Irma knocked out almost 2/3 of the state's electricity. Residents had gone 10 days without power after Irma hit. Although improvements to the power grid were made 12 years ago after Hurricane Wilma, Florida's major utility companies still dealt with criticism for residents over the long power outage. It was a beautiful walk in this morning, but throughout the day it got hot out there. But I'm hearing we could be in store for a cool down.
I sure hope so, considering fall starts on Friday. Emily Bloom joins us now with a look at our forecast.
We are headed for a cool down, and we are going to get there in just a moment. But first, let's take a quick look at Maria. While this hurricane has progressed down to a Category 2 hurricane, it remains a huge threat for Turks and Caicos. Right now, it is looking like it is going to hit there Friday midday. With winds at 120 miles an hour, they are looking at potentially 15 feet of storm surge and 12 to 18 inches of rain. As this hurricane progresses, it is going to head out into the Atlantic. It'll be there by Monday midday. Some models are actually indicating that this could meet up with Tropical Storm Jose circling and bringing quite a bit of precipitation to our east coast in the coming days. Back here at home, we are right where we should be at this time of year. We've got 95 down in Tucson, 95 in Lake Havasu, 74 at the Grand Canyon, and 75 in Show Low. Now this is where our cool down comes in. This area of low pressure continues to settle in from the Pacific Northwest. This cold front is going to barely clip our state, and that is what is going to pull those temperatures down and drive up those winds. The gusts tomorrow could be up to 20 miles an hour. As we head into the rest of the week, we do have our first day of fall on Friday, and apparently Mother Nature is on board. Our high drops nearly 10 degrees that day. The overnight low, 65. We hold on to these beautiful temperatures as we head into our weekend and the rest of next week. For Cronkite Weather, I'm Emily Bloom.
A new ASU dorm is one of America's most tech-savvy.
Students are enjoying Bluetooth washer and dryers and 3D printers right at home. Coming up, find out what Amazon did to add to the dorm's list of gadgets.
Fridays, it's at Cronkite News, your social sharing connection where you choose the news. Facebook likes and shares, tweets, retweets, and favorites. YouTube views and subscriptions. We're watching you watch us. From our digital home at cronkitenews.azpbs.org to your television, web browser, or mobile device. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Then join us for at Cronkite News, our weekly refresh, each Friday at 5 on Arizona PBS.
College dormitories have come a long way in recent years, with universities spending millions of dollars to integrate them with the latest technologies. ASU's brand new engineering dorm, Tucker House, is no exception. Tim John shows us why even big tech companies are providing their latest gadgets to students who live there.
Carter Kwan is an engineering student who just started his junior year at ASU. Kwan is also one of the first residents to live in Tucker House, one of America's most technologically advanced dorms.
This new building is amazing. There's nothing quite like it in the country.
Tucker House, which just opened last month, features things such as classroom workspaces, 3D printers, and Bluetooth-enabled washer and dryers. The high-tech dorm has garnered so much attention that even the tech giants of the corporate world have begun to take notice. Amazon has donated 1,600 of their Echo Dots for use by the residents of Tucker House, and there's a reason why. James Colafello, an associate dean at the Fulton Schools of Engineering, says it's because engineering graduates are in such high demand and that companies are keen to get in front of them as potential employers.
Companies understand that if they want to be able to hire our students, they can't wait until they're seniors. And so we have companies getting involved with the students as early as a freshman year, trying to get their brand out there.
Alexa.
And it seems to be working. Quan, along with his friend and classmate Stephen Hall, have already begun developing new interfaces for their Echo Dots and cite Amazon as a potential dream employer.
Oh, I'd love to work at Amazon, so Amazon, if you're watching.
But in the meantime, Tucker House, with all its gadgets, will continue to be Quan's home. In Tempe, Tim Johns, Cronkite News.
Tucker House is home to nearly 1,600 students and is located on University Drive on ASU's Tempe campus.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, ASU President Michael Crow talks about the state attorney general's lawsuit over in-state tuition for DACA recipients and tuition hikes overall, and how to talk to kids about current events.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next NewsHour, I talk with Melinda Gates about the role of U.S. aid abroad. That's Wednesday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, you can go to our website, cronkitenews.azpbs.org.